falling into a volcano is an instant death sentence. Lava, fire, no hope. But what if I told you there are real people who fell in and somehow didn't die? From terrifying slips near molten craters to accidental plunges into volcanic tubes, these survivors defied every odd imaginable. This is not fiction, these are real stories of people who survived falling into a volcano and walked away to tell the tale. It only took one step too far. In May 2019, a 32-year-old man visiting Hawaii's Volcano National Park ignored the warning signs and climbed over the protective railing to get a closer look inside the Kīlauea volcano. He lost his footing and fell an astonishing 70 feet down into the crater's rocky interior. This wasn't just a scraped knee situation, he came terrifyingly close to one of the world's most dangerous lava lakes. The fall knocked him unconscious, but miraculously, he landed on a narrow ledge instead of plunging all the way into the molten abyss. Rangers rushed to the scene, lowered themselves into the crater, and performed a high-risk rescue. He was hospitalized but survived, and his story became a global warning against ignoring safety at volcanic sites. He fell into a volcano trying to take a selfie. Try explaining that to somebody from the 1800s. In July 2022, an American tourist in Italy visited the iconic Mount Vesuvius, the very same volcano that destroyed Pompeii. Despite signs warning visitors to stay on marked paths, and I mean the whole Pompeii situation, he ventured off trail to the edge of the crater for a better selfie. When his phone slipped from his hand and tumbled into the crater, he tried to retrieve it, and that's when the earth gave way. He fell several meters into the crater, crashing onto a ledge surrounded by loose ash and jagged rock. Local guides witnessed the entire event and sprang into action. Using climbing ropes, they performed a dangerous descent and managed to pull him out before he slid further down. He escaped with minor injuries but faced fines and potential legal trouble. The phone? Still lost in the volcano. It's almost like the phone didn't matter at all. You drop it in a volcano, don't go for it. That's the volcano's phone now. Please. He was swallowed by volcanic gas while filming it. In 1991, a documentary cameraman, John McDermott, was filming geothermal activity near Mount St. Helens, the infamous volcano in Washington that erupted catastrophically in 1980. While moving equipment near a vent spewing steam and gas, the unstable ground collapsed beneath him. He plunged into a fumarole, a deep gas-emitting hole with dangerously high temperatures. The toxic steam burned his lungs and volcanic ash filled his eyes and ears, but somehow McDermott managed to cling to an interior rock. His crew quickly reacted and pulled him out using a tripod and a belt. He suffered severe burns and needed months of treatment, but he survived, and he kept filming volcanoes for years afterward. They flew into a volcano and lived to tell the tale. In 1992, a sightseeing tour helicopter with 5 people aboard was flying over Kīlauea's caldera when a mechanical failure caused the aircraft to lose altitude rapidly. With no time to reach a safe landing zone, the pilot had no choice but to crash land inside the crater itself, just meters away from flowing lava. The crash was violent, breaking the skids and damaging the rotors, but none of the passengers were killed. Trapped in a hostile environment, that would be a nightmare. You survive a helicopter crash just to realize you're in a fucking volcano? Like, what do you mean? Sorry, that really I was just thinking about how horrible that whole situation would be. Trapped in a hostile environment filled with toxic gases and razor-sharp volcanic rock, they waited nearly 4 hours before rescue teams could reach them by foot. Each person suffered injuries, of course, but all survived a very rare case of a volcano air crash that didn't end in tragedy. I mean, there can't be very many of those situations in general. Even the professionals sometimes get a little too close. In 2017, volcanologist Dr. Jeff Mackley, known for extreme close-up footage of active volcanoes, was conducting research at Masaya, one of Nicaragua's most dangerous volcanoes. Wearing a heat-resistant suit and connected to a rope, he was lowered into the crater to film one of the world's rare lava lakes. But the safety system failed when the rope jerked suddenly, causing him to slide several meters lower than planned, directly into an area filled with thick, acidic smoke. He lost visibility, panicked, and started choking. The team above managed to pull him up just in time before he completely blacked out. After regaining consciousness, he was treated for smoke inhalation and second-degree burns, but returned to the field within weeks. His footage still some of the closest ever recorded to an active lava lake. He fell into one of the most remote volcanoes on Earth. During a scientific mission in the late 1970s, an unnamed expedition team member was exploring Mount Erebus in Antarctica, a surreal ice-covered volcano with a persistent lava lake. As he was walking near a snow-covered vent, the surface cracked beneath his feet. He fell into a partially collapsed ice cave above an active vent that was releasing volcanic gas. The intense heat melted the snow rapidly, threatening to collapse the ceiling. With quick thinking, teammates formed a human chain using climbing gear and pulled him out before the cavern gave way. He suffered from hypothermia, sulfur burns, and gas inhalation, but survived, and his story is still quietly told among the Antarctic research community. He wanted to get the perfect shot and nearly died for it. Sam Kosman, a digital explorer and filmmaker, became one of the first people to descend into the crater of Ambrym volcano in Vanuatu in 2014. Outfitted with protective suits and gas masks, he and his team were using drones and cameras to study the bubbling lava lake. But at one point, the edge beneath his feet collapsed. Kosman slipped down a steep embankment towards the lava. His team immediately anchored themselves and hauled him back using harness and Kevlar rope systems. The terrifying moment was caught on camera, and it shows just how unforgiving even a controlled expedition can become in an instant. Sometimes miracles happen in the most toxic places. In 2001, near Mount Ijen in East Java, Indonesia, a boy playing near the crater edge slipped into a sulfur vent. The vents at Ijen don't just emit gas, they often contain pools of boiling acidic water used for sulfur mining. Local miners working nearby saw the fall and immediately jumped into action. Without any protective equipment, 2 men pulled the boy out within seconds. He was badly burned with damaged lungs from inhaling sulfur dioxide, yet against all odds, he survived after months of hospital care. His rescuers were later recognized for their bravery, and the event sparked a new wave of safety measures around the site. A show-off stunt nearly turned fatal. In 2018, a 20-year-old traveler decided to film a parkour-style stunt on the rim of Mount Bromo's crater, which is famous for its stunning views and thick volcanic steam. He jumped from one ledge to another, but slipped on volcanic dust and tumbled down the crater wall. He managed to catch himself just before sliding into an area filled with hot ash and choking gases. His friends, panicked and with no professional gear, formed a rope using jackets and a selfie stick. They miraculously pulled him up. He walked away with a broken wrist and some serious burns, and authorities used the footage to warn against dangerous tourist behavior, but online, of course, the clip went viral. Some people really don't learn the first time. Renowned photographer Karsten Peter is known for capturing extreme environments. While filming the Eruption volcano in Ethiopia, which has one of the longest existing lava lakes, he slipped on a fragile crust of solidified lava in 2002 and fell into a shallow lava tube. He burned his gloves and arms but managed to scramble out. Incredibly, just 3 years later, he returned to the same volcano and once again fell into a fumarole. Thanks to his heat protective gear and an alert support team, he survived both incidents. Today, he remains one of the very few people on Earth who can say they've fallen into a volcano twice and lived to photograph it both times. Alright, that's gotta be some weird world record. Alright, have you ever fallen into a volcano? Let us know down below in the comments. That would be crazy. That would be crazy. What were you doing? Alright guys, that has been our list for today. Thanks so much for checking it out. I've been your host today, Olivia Kozlovsky. I'll see you again soon. Goodbye.